So honestly, since we've been getting, we've been dealing with Spright for a while. Even if they had totally, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. I'm just honestly glad Union Carrier is gone. Not, I don't know what Spright does with Union Carrier, honestly, but good riddance, honestly. And I mean, I'm hoping this is next. Because as long as we have Verte, we'll never be getting Dragoon. So let me just pull that up right now. So Dragoon is actually really sad. Because you can't even craft Dragoon. At some point, there were people cheating in a Dragoon somehow. I don't know how they did that, because I can't even generate it now, like a year later. Which sucks. But, I mean, hopefully Verte is the next to go, but... Even if Spright had totally, Master Duel is a best of one format, it would be slightly frustrating or slightly annoying, maybe. It wouldn't be a super big deal. The only thing that totally changes is their end board gets a little bit better, but their going second doesn't get any better from this. And there are a lot of decks like, for example, Ten Yi. I don't even know how many different things that list had. Ten Yi, Yang Zing, and then there was like Zephyra Nui maybe. I don't remember. It had all of those, so it's just Omni Negate spam. So honestly, that deck could be argued to be better turn 1 than, like, Spright here. And even if Nib doesn't work on them, it doesn't really matter. The things they can do to you while they're going second is rather minimal, honestly. They can just use certain hand traps on you, and that's fine. But they don't have significant backrow removal in their deck anyways. Like, if you skill drain them, they're dead. And now they just have to simply draw an out. But people are actually playing Runic with skill drain on occasion now, so it's like... Well, whoops. So with Runic... Let's check. Does this banish for a cost? Or what? You can banish this card you control instead? So it doesn't synergize with Hugin, but does it actually matter? Because in Runic Stun, they're going to be using more than one floodgate on you anyways. So you're probably going to have to deal with Tikaboo, Rivalry, or Gozen as well as the skill drain. And with Spright, you won't be able to search for the smashers here, right? If you're playing the Runic stuff, you can maybe search Destruction to affect the skill drain, to attempt to destroy it, right? And then that'll be the last card you destroy, because now you have to contest with Hugin that will be able to protect, like, some sort of floodgate, like a Tikaboo or something. Tikaboo, Gozen, Rivalry, whatever. All of which Spright loses to anyways. And there are a lot of decks that can play around, you know, at least one of those. Like, Dinosaur can play okay under Gozen and Rivalry. Like, it's okay, right? Not necessarily the best, but you can manage something under those. What does Spright do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the attack for all these Spright cards are so low, they would struggle to beat over Hugin, who would come back every turn anyway, so it's just completely losing when you're playing into, like, a Runic Stun deck. And that's just a stun deck, right? But that's not the only deck out there. Like, for example, if we have DD, if I just pass, like, assuming they don't have an out to Dias, and of course most of the time you aren't, like, just ending on a single Dias, but if I end on Dias with a certain amount of interactions, like 4 activations on my Dias, what is Spright gonna do about that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But, like, typical DD end board, I'll probably also have, like, Gilgamesh, Baron, and then I will have, maybe if I'm lucky, Siegfried, but then I will definitely also have High Wave King Caesar as well. And then I have the recovery in case something happens. And there's a good chance I also have headhunt. Speaking of which, headhunt by itself already has a pretty high chance of just beating Runic straight up. Well, not Runic, I mean Spright. So you just activate like any kind of destruction on their normal summon. If they don't have like starter, they're done. That's it. Game over. So honestly, in that case, even like a 1 activation Deus would be enough to finish them off. They wouldn't be able to do anything. And even if they have like a red, like if they normal summon Spright here, I guess, like normal blue or something, and then like special red, and then activate Sprite's starter, they still would not be able to deal with a single Deus. Like, their going second ability is actually laughable, and even if they had totally, nothing changes about that. They have to go through some hoops to set up totally. Their end board going first, of course, will be stronger because of it. So that would contribute to them being harder to beat a little bit, but yeah, Spright, honestly, pretty laughable deck going second. And that's honestly why I think, for example, like a deck like Dinosaur would be better. Like, we have, well, I mean, in Master Duel format at least, Soul Eating Oviraptor isn't completely that crazy, but it's a really good starter overall, I guess. It does a lot. But it's mostly Miscellaneousaurus, which completely just dumpsters Spright. You're not gonna be able to do anything here. Dark Ruler no more is an activated effect, so that doesn't affect the ultimate conductor Tyrannosaurus, which can then, like, whenever you've summoned 2 monsters, we can just do the flipping effect and then we're good. And if we're against Spright, then we could just simply, if we're going second into them, we can just UCT, attack over everything. And this doesn't even, like, yeah. So, double evolution pill, right? So this gets searched really early on in the combo, so even if they drop a maxi, we can just summon an early UCT and just clear their board and wait a turn. Assuming we can't find lethal, for example. Like, honestly, Dinosaur has a lot of advantages, and one of the small advantages of playing Runic Spright, for example, is that with the, well, yeah, they're annoying really, the Runic cards that these guys will play, right? Since they banish your cards face up, they can somewhat tell what you're playing sometimes if they banish like certain cards. Like if you banish their contract with the gate, you know they're playing DD, so you'll know to grab which Spright, like grab red or carrot, I guess. So in that case, you have some line of play you can do there. But like, Dinosaur has something better than that, I would argue. Like, I guess you can banish like a key piece of a combo, potentially. Or their decks, it doesn't really affect that much at all. Just playing a partial Runic package doesn't really matter too much. But with Dinosaur, actually, you play the True King Lithosegum, spelled like this. So True King Lithosegum, I would argue, is much better than their Runic options. And you can also play the True King Field spell to search the True King Lithosegum as well. And that, of course, combos with Dinosaurs really well as well. So this just allows you to see your opponent's entire extra deck and then banish 3. It has to be 3 different names, but still, that's 3 monsters you can banish from their extra deck. So let's say I'm playing against a Sword Soul player. I banish Baron, Changying, and then I can banish, let's see, I don't know, whatever I'm feeling. Choose Zhao's not necessary, just they run 2, and then Monk, they'll probably run 2 Monks, if I were to guess. And, well, let's see, then How many copies of Boxia do you think they run? Boxia is run at like probably 1 or 2, so if you banish Boxia, they're left with like no good going second options, and you should just have the game in the bag from that point on. Lithosegum is much stronger in just being able to banish important cards for your opponent anyways. So yeah, that's about all I want to say here today. Spright, pretty mid deck, honestly. In terms of like the meta decks we've had, honestly, this isn't even one of like the better ones. And if we're thinking about like strength wise, like of the best Master Duel meta decks, Spright is, yeah, just one of the weaker ones. Like Stun Eldlick, basically. Awful. Floodgates. And then they got Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which made it much more rough to play against. That was significantly worse to deal with. And then there is also just this good old VFD, True King of All Calamities, Halcdon. This was also much worse. This is a lingering floodgate, and it just nukes your ability to play, basically. You don't have anything. And then they can also, they'll end up searching the Yangzing counter trap as well, with the Denglong and stuff. So then we get hit by the 9 Pillars, which is a counter trap, which is pretty hard to respond to or deal with. And the board breaking options you had against this, you didn't really have any. Your options were basically just to hope you have a good hand trap selection to try to stop this. But of course there was like 3 of cross out and then followed by and stuff, right? So you're not doing too well in that regard either. Oh, and of course, you getting hit by Samorg by like the Tri-Brigade list. That wasn't fun either, but yeah. Honestly, this end board is like the Tri-Brigade end board that uses like Samorg and Appaloosa and all that, is arguably better or equal to this. It's just like Spright is very consistent, if nothing else. Like overall, pretty consistent. But most of their combos are still 2-card combos. Halcdon was straight up 1 card. And their only 1 card is Spright Starter, which got hit preemptively, which is about whatever. Because you have about 3 copies of Fractal, actually, because you have Fractal and then you have the Fire Fist card. Oh, Fire Fist. Whoops. Fire Fist. You have the formation. Oh, 10 key. Alright. You have Fire Formation 10 key. So 10 key could be at 3, but it's whatever, I guess. So if 10 key was at 3, that would be annoying, I guess. But 10 key is at 2, so you essentially already have twice the amount of starters as Spright here. Well, in terms of 1-card starters. And then there was like Adventure Halcdon as well, so that also plays around Nibiru fairly well. So honestly, compared to like, if you look at all of the past like meta decks that we've had in Master Duel, this is probably just straight up the weakest meta deck, I think. I don't think there was anything as like weak as this, and I wouldn't consider like something like Labyrinth meta deck. Like Labyrinth did see like good amount of play recently, but I think honestly Labyrinth is more like a flavor of the month kind of like deck, honestly, just straight up. It's not that good in my opinion, Labyrinth. It's like, if it gets going, it's fine, right? It's good, but Subterror can do like pretty much the same kind of things they can do. And the resource loop that they have, once they get going, it's about, like, the same kind of thing as what the Labyrinth has. In fact, Subterror is cheaper to make than Labyrinth, so Subterror has that up on Labyrinth. But yeah, Spright, pretty mid. So we'll end it off here today. And yeah, Spright, even if they had totally, I think we're just whatever. Like, I mean, people are already running Dark Ruler no more anyways. Like I mean, what's the difference if Toad was in the game? Well, I mean, going second, you would have a rougher time if you didn't have Dark Ruler no more in your hand, I guess. Not that they can stop Dark Ruler no more, like, at all, so very whatever. Well, I'll see you guys in the next video then. Bye.